The reason most men never build real wealth isn't because they don't earn enough money. It's because they're wasting their cash on nice specific things that feel completely normal but are actually financial suicide. I'm definitely guilty of doing this, and if you're watching this video, I'm pretty sure you are as well. So in this video, I'll go through the 9 biggest money drains that are keeping millions of men broke without them even realizing it. I'll show you exactly how much each one is costing you, and I'll give you the simple steps to eliminate every single one of them starting today so you can feel in control of your finances and have more money than you ever have before. The first point is probably the one that I'm guilty of the most. How many times have you upgraded something that was working perfectly fine just because there was a newer version? You might be scrolling on your phone and you see that Apple has announced the new iPhone, and suddenly your perfectly good phone feels like you've got a Nokia 3310. So many men fall into this trap, and Apple have even said before that they slow down their older phones just so that you buy a new one. And next thing you know, you've taken out a new phone contract or dropped well over $1,000 at the Apple store. The reality is that upgrading your phone is going to cost you at least £1,200. And over 10 years, that's £12,000. I've had my current phone for 3 years, and don't get me wrong, I would happily walk into the Apple store and get a new one. But realistically, I just don't need one. The one that I've got now is perfectly fine. Having the same phone for 10 years might be a bit of a push, but let's say you get a new one every 5 years, which could also be a bit of a push, but stick with me. You take the £10,000 you saved and you put it into an investment account. Over the course of 10 years, you could have easily made £3,000 in that money, but you've thrown it away for what? I'm sure you don't need a brand new iPhone every single year just to doom scroll. But if you do want to upgrade, then you can always get one secondhand that's less than a year old. Buying something off eBay or Facebook Marketplace can save you heaps of cash. What you might not realize is that when you do upgrade your tech, you're doing it for that little dopamine hit, that feeling of getting something new. That same addictive feeling is also fueling another even bigger waste of money. You might start off innocent enough, sticking a fiver on your team or a tenner into your fantasy football league. You might tell yourself that it's just a bit of fun and it makes watching the games more exciting. But these apps are like digital casinos in your pocket. They're designed by teams of psychologists who know exactly how to keep you hooked. The average guy loses around £2,000 a year on betting. That's over £150 a month disappearing into thin air, chasing wins that never come. The best thing you can do is open up your phone right now and delete those betting apps. If you put a barrier between you and them, then it's going to make it so much easier to stop the habit. You wouldn't throw £150 in cash at your car window every month, but that's exactly what you're doing on these apps. If you want to feel like you're winning, put that £150 into an investment account instead. It might sound boring and not give you that same buzz, but in 20 years, you'd have £60,000 instead of a collection of losing betting slips. And speaking of throwing money away, how familiar does this sound? January hits, you sign up for that gym membership, £50 a month because this year's different and it's a new year, so it's a new me. You buy the pre-workout and the protein powder, but you only go twice. So by March, you're paying £50 a month just to feel guilty whenever you drive past the gym. But you keep paying because cancelling feels like admitting defeat. All whilst that protein powder gathers dust in your cupboard. That's £600 a year just to feel like you can tell people that you go to the gym. But don't take this as me telling you not to go to the gym, because that's definitely not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you're paying for the membership, then at least get the use out of it. I think if you build the habit of getting into the gym, this will also influence other healthy habits in your life, which then might distract you from needing to spend money on things you don't need. The gym membership might not be the only subscription that you're wasting money on though. How many times have you sat down in front of the TV, had a scroll through and thought there's nothing to watch, so you switched over to YouTube? I feel like everyone used to moan about how expensive Sky was, but now they're more than happy to pay well over £50 a month to have Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus and Paramount. You're paying for more content than you could watch in 3 lifetimes, but you still can't find anything to watch. It's like having 5 restaurants in your kitchen, but ordering takeaway every night. The average household has 5 streaming subscriptions costing £50 a month. That's another £600 a year to scroll endlessly for the menus, only to watch the same episode of The Office that you've seen over 12 times already. So do a little audit of the subscriptions that you've got and cancel any that you just don't get the use out of. Or you could try and share subscriptions with a family member, even though they are trying to make this a bit harder for you. And look, even if you cancel one and then a month later you really miss it and you want it back, that's completely fine. But I think you'd be surprised about how little you think about them when they're actually gone. While we're talking about paying for things that you barely use, let's talk about the stuff that you never use at all. How much gear do you own for hobbies that you've completely abandoned? The guitar you were going to learn, the mountain bike for weekend adventures, the golf club for rounds that you never play, and that set of DJ decks that you bought on Klarna. Buy now, pay later, makes you feel like it's free, but actually it's the most expensive way to disappoint yourself. When you see something cool or someone else doing something cool, you imagine this new version of yourself. You click pay in 4 installments and it's as easy as that. You might have pictured yourself sitting around a campfire in a hostel in Thailand, playing your guitar and looking cool. But let's be honest, it's never going to happen because you just can't stick to it. The average British man has £2,500 worth of unused hobby equipment. So before you go all out in the next phase you have, buying all the gear and having no idea, just have a think about how much it's actually costing. Before buying any new gear, clear out some of your old stuff that you barely use anymore and commit to the hobby for at least 30 days using borrowed or basic equipment first. Prove that you will stick with it before investing properly. How many times have you popped into Tesco for milk or eggs and somehow ended up spending £40? Every time I leave the house, I feel like it costs me at least £20. The supermarkets make it so easy if you just spend more than what you want. Everything's always on offer, so you feel like you have to buy it. Every time you just pop down the shops, you absolutely tank your wealth. You're going for the essentials, but you leave with sweets and chocolate. Well, I'm hoping I'm not the only one that does that, but you never know, your thing might be sausage rolls. I'm not judging you. But the average person spends 23 more than planned every single supermarket visit. If you're popping in twice a week, that's £2,400 a year on stuff you didn't even know you wanted 5 minutes earlier. Make a shopping list and stick to it. Or you can do a big weekly shop online. You can't impulse buy when you're not walking past the stuff on offer. And while you're impulse buying food, you're also paying restaurant prices for microwave quality food delivered straight to your sofa. Deliveroo, Uber Eats, and Just Eat have turned laziness into a luxury service, and you're paying premium prices for it. That £15 burger ends up costing you £23 when you add on the fees and the tips. So when you're ordering twice a week, that's £2,400 a year just to save you walking to your kitchen and whipping up a meal. You're literally paying someone to make you unhealthier and poorer both at the same time. Every delivery is choosing convenience over a week's worth of food. I feel like the thought of cooking seems so much longer than what it actually is. It really doesn't take long to make something simple like a spag bowl or a curry, and I guarantee you'll probably feel better from it, apart from the washing up. Delete the apps and learn 5 simple meals that you can cook in 20 minutes or less. Batch cook on Sundays and keep emergency meals in the freezer. This also links into what I was saying earlier about the gym. If you actually use your membership and start building healthy habits, then you won't want to order that burger twice a week. You'll want to fuel your body with good food that will support your fitness journey. When did owning a car become about impressing strangers at traffic lights? That car finance deal might have seemed reasonable, but it's actually a financial handcuff disguised as freedom. The average car payment in the UK is £400 a month. Over a typical 5-year finance deal, you'll pay £24,000 for a car that's worth £15,000 when you finally own it. You're overpaying £9,000 just to impress someone you don't know at traffic lights. Most men treat their car like their identity. They upgrade the alloys, they give it a better sound system, and they use premium petrol for a car that just doesn't need it. You're putting all this money into something that's just losing money, and the whole time you're treating it like an investment property. Here's what wealthy men do instead. They buy reliable cars outright, or if they must finance them, then they go for the shortest term possible. They see cars as tools and not status symbols. You should buy a 1-year-old car and let someone else take the hit of losing the value as soon as you drive it out the showroom. Your ego might take a small knock, but your bank account will thank you for decades. And once you've driven that expensive car down the pub, that's where the real financial damage begins. Last week, my mate checked his bank balance after a night out and he spent £200 and he said he had no idea how, even though he ended up in someone's kitchen at 9 AM talking complete waffle. All the weekends you have like this add up so much faster than what you think. That quick pint after work ends up costing you at least £60 by the end of the night. Add in a couple of Jaegers, a kebab on the way home and a taxi, and you're easily looking at over £150 a weekend. That's £8,000 a year on waking up the next day with a beer fear. So many men waste their money down the pub because they're looking for a temporary solution to a permanent problem. We're paying for escape instead of building something that's worth staying present for. And I'm not saying to never go out and never have a beer again, but just have a think about it. We all know how easy it is to get roped into having a few beers, but sometimes it's just not necessary. So you could try a night out every now and again without boozing. Just see how you feel. I can guarantee you'll wake up the next morning feeling good about yourself. But even if you don't want to do this or can't handle the peer pressure from your mates about not drinking, you could pre-drink at home or take cash out and then go home when it runs out. Cutting out these money traps is so powerful. But if you don't change the way that you think about money, you'll just find new ways to stay broke. So if you dream of financial freedom without the stress of living paycheck to paycheck, and you want to learn how millionaires think about money, then you should watch this video right here.